TV.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today on drboycetv.com, I want to talk about this really crazy game that I just saw. I just saw Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes just literally get the crap kicked out of them on national TV. It was kind of crazy. It was kind of interesting. And believe it or not, there is an economic lesson that can be learned here in terms of how assets are valued. And I thought it would be fun to show you literally that when you study finance for as long as I have, you can see the economics everywhere. So go ahead and hit the thumbs up button and let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes if you can hear me, okay? And what's up to everybody on TikTok? How you guys doing? And what's up on Instagram? I'm on TikTok and Instagram. My TikTok is just Boyce Watkins. There's 30,000 followers on my TikTok, so make sure it's me. There's a lot of fake accounts out there, and also Dr. Boyce Finance on Instagram. All right, so how many of you, give me a yes or no, how many of you saw the game today with Coach Prime and Colorado? Did anybody else watch this game? It was a pretty big deal. Millions of dollars were made. A lot was on the line, and this was the game where, for a lot of sports fans, this was kind of the game where you were going to find out if they were for real or not. This is the game where where those of us who follow football were kind of like, okay, well, let's see how they do against Colorado, or not Colorado. I'm sorry, against Oregon, because Oregon team. And a lot of people thought they might have a chance to win this game. I wasn't really sure one way or the other because I was very impressed with their performance up until this point, and I was really impressed with the numbers they were putting up, and I really thought it was exciting to see Coach Prime and his team doing so well. Well, the dream is dead, or at least for right now. They were beaten so bad that I think by halftime it was 35-0, and then the second half, I think Oregon kind of took it easy on them. They only scored one touchdown in the third quarter, and then they didn't score anything in the fourth quarter. So I think they were running the ball a lot and kind of being at least somewhat decent about it. And I'm gonna tell you, I think that game was very personal. It was very personal because Oregon was pretty much those guys. They made it clear. They said that basically they admitted that they were jealous of the fact that they are getting so much attention that they feel like they deserve. Oregon has a great quarterback named Bo Nix. They have a great defensive line, great offensive line, great running backs, great wide receivers. And they were like, why is everybody giving all the attention to these guys just because they beat Colorado State? Everybody can beat Colorado State. And so literally it was kind of interesting, right? And there's actually something in there that I want to bring up. But first of all, I want to acknowledge Josh Thornton. Josh, I see your comment, man. I love your brother. You're a second father to me. Well, thank you for saying that, man. And anybody who wants that second dad, I'm willing to fill out the application. I'm very happy to talk to any young brothers or even brothers who are not black. You ain't even got to be black, or young sisters that are looking for some of the wisdom that you pick up by the age of 52. I'm happy to share it because I want you to be happy. I want you to have a good life. I want you to be successful. So everybody, let's type the word success in the chat. Let's type happiness in the chat or success, either one, to make it clear. That's what we want for our kids. That's why I yell and scream about stuff like drugs and all that, because I don't want to see our kids going through the hell that you go through when you imitate people that are living bad, dangerous, ridiculous lives. I mean, you don't want to end up in those bad spots. And Tupac used to do that. Tupac went to jail and he said that he thinks rappers should stop rapping about how great jail is. He said, jail ain't no Disneyland. He said, jail's a terrible place. I want everybody to hear this. And I said, thank you for doing that, because I don't know why in the hell they would go around telling people that jail is a wonderful place to go. That's crazy. But you've had rappers do that. You've had rappers glorifying going to jail. And if you've ever known anybody who's gone or been there yourself, you will know it ain't even fun to visit a prison, let alone be inside of one. Get dehumanized and treated like crap. So I want our young people to be free and happy and successful. So that's why I'm very happy to be a second dad to everybody that's watching, because we can do this every single day until I'm gone. Anyway, and then after that, you can watch the recorded videos. All right. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I also have a series called Black American Money. If you'd like to get autographed copies of those books, just go to drboycebooks.com, search for the word autograph, and you can find autographed copies of my books. My kids will ship them to you. We run our business as a family business because we do practice what we preach. All right. So let's talk about this ass whooping that that coach. I'm sorry. I mean, they got beat pretty bad. And what's interesting is that in games like this, the guys that are playing against Colorado are excited, right? Because Coach Prime is a guy that brings shine everywhere he goes. He is the most celebrated college football coach maybe ever. And everywhere he goes, there's a whole lot of media, there's a whole lot of attention, a whole lot of press. So what that does create is it creates a whole lot of pressure on he and his players because everybody's out to get you. When you become that person on top of the hill, everybody wants a piece of that. Everybody says, okay, if I take him down in front of everybody else, then I get to be the man. I get to be the big dog. I get to be whatever. And I still remember one time I was on an ESPN show called quite frankly with Stephen A. Smith, and I was on there with a rapper named Method Man. I assume y'all know who Method Man is. I hope we ain't that old. Anyway, Method Man was on there, and we started talking about Tupac actually, and I think that Tupac was an interesting guy because even though I mentioned earlier the great things he did in terms of giving good advice, I felt like he didn't have to die as young as he did. I felt like he was always in the middle of stuff, right? And my impression was that Pac, unfortunately, seemed like he was kind of trying to put himself in these crazy situations. And I remember Method Man corrected me really quickly. He almost mad about it. He said, "No, Tupac didn't want all that." He said he didn't want all that. He said, "When you're on top, everybody's coming after you." He said, everybody's coming at you when you're at the top." And I understand that, right? I understand it because in finance, I've kind of established myself in that world, and I've had a lot of people come at me, and I'm like, I don't even know you. Like, why are you talking about me like you hate me? Like you don't even know, you don't know nothing about. You talking about my wife? You ain't never met my wife. How you? What's going on, man? But that's what it is. That's competition, right? So the Oregon players, in my view, were probably feeling some kind of way that they work hard too. They have a great team too, and they weren't getting any of the attention. And I think that for the entire season, this is the dark side of playing for Colorado. The bright side is you get to be next to Coach Prime. The dark side is you got to be next to Coach Prime. Right. And the one thing about being on top of anything or getting the most spotlight in any arena is you got to deal with the light and the dark. There's nothing out here in the universe that is 100% good all the time. Fame is not 100% good. I've dealt with a little bit of fame. I've been around famous people. I can go to cities I've never been to and have people recognize me on the street. So whatever you want to call that, it's something I don't know what it is, but whatever you want to call it. So I've dealt with that, and the thing I can tell you is that the bright side is. You get celebrated. People want to give you free food. If you're a single man, the girls want to come and hang out with you. They think your jokes are really funny. They think you're a handsome man. The dark side is that you might see somebody looking at you. I might be in the airport and somebody's looking at me, staring at me. And I don't know if they're staring at me because they want to talk to me or they're staring at me because they hate my guts and want to beat me up and try to fight me. Right. So you don't know, right? So ultimately with Coach Prime, this is the challenge they're gonna have. Here's the issue, right? And then there's research in finance actually that talks about how sometimes too much hype can make you into the equivalent of an overvalued stock. These are called bubbles. This is when assets get valued to a level that they should not be valued, right? So, to some extent, some would say that Colorado football, at least when it comes to their playing ability, became similar to a stock market bubble. Right? Anybody ever seen like when bubbles burst? Anybody remember when markets crash? Right? When everything seems to go straight to hell, like the real estate crash in 2008, the dot-com bubble that burst before that. But then after that, recently you had the crypto bubble. Remember, NFTs were worth all this money. People were paying $200,000 or $300,000 for these ugly little pictures, and now 95% of all NFTs are officially worthless. Did y'all know there's a recent study that said 95% of all NFTs are pretty much are just done and dead. So this is what you call a market correction. This is where the bubble gets burst and you get sent back to reality, and then you have to kind of pick up the pieces and figure it all out. So to some extent, you might argue that if you were to look at the Colorado football team the same way you look at a stock, their stock price was going up and up and up and up and some will say that today that bubble kind of burst. It did not burst in terms of them getting attention. It did not burst in terms of them being one of the more interesting teams in all of college football. It did not burst in the sense that all their NIL deals are going to be dead. It did burst in the sense that people were caught in this fantasy that somehow this team that was 1-11 last year could somehow come out and win a national championship. And so with Coach Prime, I think he's probably going to kind of recover from this. But in case you don't know, if you're a football fan, you look at their schedule. Oh, there's teams out there like this licking their chops. They like hungry monsters right now. They cannot wait to get in the Coach Prime spotlight and get to whooping ass. You think Oregon was tough? Wait till you see USC. Them Trojans are not playing. I think those Trojans were, I think they were top 5 or something like that, and they got other top 20 teams on their schedule. So this is what's interesting because this sort of shows the bright side and the darker side of playing in that sort of spotlight with that kind of pressure, especially when you maybe don't believe inherently that you have as much skill as people think that you have, right? So, anyway, do me a favor, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Also, if you want to get profit alerts, I'm a finance professor. You guys know this. Uh, Excuse me, if you would like to know what stocks that I pick, stuff like that, I send out profit alerts to this is not investing advice, but I do send out stocks that I'm buying for my family. So if you'd like to get those profit alerts, just text the word stock to 31996. Text stock to 31996. I'll also send you our $5 a day investing plan. There's a training called How to Make Money Without Working and all that good stuff. And I saw one of you asked about doing a one-on-one consultation with me. If you ever want to talk to me one-on-one, it's not free, but if that's something you want to do, that is available. About I do about 4 of those a month. So you can email Chanel at boycewatkins.com. That's one N and two L's and starts with a C. Chanel at boycewatkins.com. So feel free to email Chanel if you want me to come speak at your event, do a training for your group, or you want to do a private consultation. It's totally up to you. All right. So let me read something to you about some of what you can learn from some of these emotions that were popping up in this game. Like I mentioned earlier, Oregon State, their coaches pretty much admitted that they were concerned and annoyed by all of the attention that Coach Prime's team was getting. So they came out on a mission. It was very personal. And if you don't think every team feels that way, I think every team that plays against Colorado is going to feel that way. I think every team is a little bit jealous, a little bit irritated, and they love the idea of knocking Deion Sanders' son on his butt, right? And that would concern me as a father because those hits are hard, and I don't want my son to get hit. I saw that poor boy get hit from the blind side, and I bet you I'm is going to replace whoever that left tackle is that did not make that block. But anyway, here are a few talking points I wanted to share with you guys. Let me see. I made some notes here because I want us to be able to learn from this. Number one, when you talk about things like jealousy, jealousy can be a huge motivator according to research that's been done. It's a multifaceted emotion which can be studied through the lens of evolutionary psychology as an adaptive response. It can encompass feelings ranging from fear of abandonment to rage and humiliation, usually arriving when there is a perceived threat to valued relationships or to one's self-esteem. Understand the roots and manifestations of jealousy can help in managing it effectively in both personal and professional settings. Let's see here. Yeah. I see that. Someone's using my name on Instagram. Yeah, I'm trying to block that person. There's a lot of fake accounts. They come up all the time. Again, that's another dark side of being a public figure, right? Because I'm technically kind of an influencer, if you want to call, but I'm a professor first, and so there are hundreds of accounts out there that are fake. So what I would say is that if you get a message from me that looks like me influencing you, inviting you to sign up for my crypto website, or telling you that I can turn your $3,000 into 50,000 in 2 weeks, that's not me. I don't do that. I don't talk about fast money. I talk about slow money. That's what I believe in because that's the sturdy money. Okay. Be really careful out there. All right. So let's see here. Jealousy is a motivation. According to Rawlings 2021, a research paper, they said motivation garnered from jealousy can drive individuals to improve performance and surpass their goals. Jealousy can propel an urge to outperform competitors and assert one's worth. However, it is crucial to channel this emotion positively to foster self improvement and avoid self destructive behaviors. So ultimately, this jealousy thing was very. I encourage you, if you have jealousy, everybody feels it. Remember, jealousy is an emotion that must be managed carefully. If you're in a relationship, guys, I'm gonna tell you this: if you're in a relationship, ladies too, if you're in a relationship and you're so jealous that you become stalkerish with your partner and constantly paranoid about every single thing, then you're gonna end up looking less attractive to that partner. Ladies, confirm this in the chat if you will. A man who is super jealous and super insecure is not an attractive man. Like there's nothing appealing about a man who is constantly scared that some better man is going to come take you. And so ultimately, I would encourage those who fight with jealousy to find a positive place to put it, so it doesn't end up making you put you in a worse situation than you were already in. Black Money's mentioning the Oregon's coach's pregame speech. I did not see the speech, but I did hear it was very personal. And the reality is that remember Coach Prime in his previous game, he said the same thing. He said, "This is personal," and coaches do that. They do that to get their team fired up. They say, "This one's personal. This is." They look for the other team to give them any ammunition that they can find to get their team pumped up and motivated. So when the Colorado State coach made the comment about taking off his hat and sunglasses, he wasn't really trying to be a jerk. I mean, sure, it wasn't the nicest comment, but he really didn't. He wasn't trying to start a war. I don't think, but still, Coach Prime took that to his team and said, "This makes it personal." So everybody gets out there and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna kill him, right?" Well, Oregon State's gonna do the same thing, or Oregon is. So here's the thing, too. I think that every game Colorado plays is going to be personal to the other team. Every game that they play is going to be personal. Why? Well, because they're Colorado and you're getting all this attention. And with big shine comes big accountability, big responsibility, big challenges. I love Coach Prime. I have his jersey on my wall. Like I have an autographed Cowboys jersey with his number. Like I'm really proud of that. And the thing about it is that um, if you go back throughout Coach Prime's career, when he was the best defensive back, he would take on the best wide receivers. They would use the best strategies to try to neutralize him. He understands this. I'm wondering if his players get this. So I'm curious to see how this plays out for him for the rest of the season. All right. In fact, in China, they have a saying that the fattest pig always gets slaughtered, and so they are the fattest pig. So everybody trying to slaughter. That's just going to be the rules of the road. What else? Some other lessons you can learn is there is something about humility and self-awareness. Now, Goldman in a 1995 research paper emphasized the role of emotional intelligence, including self-awareness and humility, in maintaining effective interpersonal relations. These traits enable individuals to have a more realistic perception of their abilities and areas for improvement. Developing humility and self awareness is fundamental to personal growth and healthy interactions. Let me tell y'all a secret. Ain't nothing more likely to humble you than to go out thinking you the stuff and get your butt kicked. There's nothing there's nothing that will make you a better man and a stronger, more resilient human being than to go out and get your ass handed to you in front of everybody. And so what's up, Ryan McCrary? Ryan's my man. Good to see you, brother. Man, you gotta call me, man. Call me. I need to know what's going on with you. Ryan's in Philadelphia. He's a smart guy. I love smart, strong black men. He's a great father and a good person, and I just want to acknowledge that. Anyway, so here's the deal. This is a character building experience for these guys in Colorado. I think that you know that Coach Ryan is when he's sitting back with his coaches trying to figure out how we can make this into a positive. He's gonna go back to these guys and help them understand, like, this comes with the territory, and this is what you deserve because y'all ain't ready. This shows that you're not as good as the hype is portraying you to be. The media is talking about you like y'all all going to win the Heisman and all go to the NFL next season. That ain't happening. Everybody's hungry, everybody's talented, and you're not the most talented team out here right now. So ultimately, I think that this experience sometimes you need to hit rock bottom in order to rebuild yourself in a better way. So because if I'm again, I'm in my 50s now, right? If I'm coaching a bunch of 19-year-olds who have multi-million dollar NIL deals, who are getting all kinds of of support from around the world, all kinds of everywhere, getting girls, getting 100,000 followers on Instagram and 2 million followers on TikTok, whatever, because they're playing for Colorado. Then I'm concerned that they are a little bit of what I might call experiencing what is called in finance irrational exuberance. Irrational exuberance basically means that you're full of yourself. That's all it just means that you think that you're invincible. Or another term that could be used in finance is what they call investor overconfidence. Somebody who makes a little bit of money, a couple things go right, and suddenly they think they're an expert on the stock market. You ever seen that? So these guys won a couple games. You beat Colorado State. Everybody can beat my daughters could beat Colorado State, but still, right? You beat Colorado State. Maybe you beat TCU. They were ranked when you beat them, but maybe this is just a year where TCU was overhyped. Maybe they weren't as good as the rankings portrayed them to be. So now you're learning that you have a lot to learn. Right? So sometimes a good ass whooping will get their attention. It'll get the attention of somebody who's been convinced that they are invincible. So to some extent, I think that this humiliating butt whooping could be the best thing to ever happen to this football team. And I think that they're going to come back better because of it, because Coach Prime's the kind of mentor that I believe is going to help them internalize failure in a way that brings them back stronger. Because Coach Brown did not become a champion without dealing with failure, without dealing with injury and loss and humiliation and everything else. And I made a joke on Twitter, but I don't know. Some people thought I was hating. I wasn't really hating. I just thought it was funny. But I said there's only two bowls that Coach Prime has ever not been able to handle, and that's Bo Jackson and Bo Nix. Bo Nix is the quarterback at Oregon who literally made himself a Heisman candidate by the way he surgically dismantled that Colorado defense. I mean, it was like a daddy playing against his kids. This kid really destroyed them. But then also Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders tells a story about how he played against Bo Jackson and he played when he was at Florida State. He ran up on Bo on tackler. He said, "Bo stiff armed me in the face." He went straight to the ground. Because Bo Jackson, in case you don't remember, if you don't know anything about the sports or old school sports, Bo Jackson was like a freak of nature. This guy was, maybe 250 pounds, solid rock muscle, and ran the 40-yard dash like 4.3, 4.2 seconds. Like could have been a track star. He was that fast. He had that speed. Except the difference was that Bo was just super big and strong, right? He was literally arguably one of the greatest players of all time. He just had his career shortened because of injury, but he was right there with Dion in terms of capability. So anyway, I'm gonna hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm gonna finish this conversation up. Me and my wife are going out to dinner tonight. It's date night, so I gotta go. I'm gonna go pay attention to my lovely wife. I'm honored to spend some time with her. By the way, everybody, the All Black National Convention is going to happen in 1 month. It's less than a month now in Atlanta. We have lots and lots of experts from our community that are B1 that are going to help us solve problems in our community. It's also a great place to network. It's a great place to learn about business, relationships, politics, and everything in between. We're all about our people. That's it. No corporate sponsors, no Democrat, Republican nonsense, none of that other stuff. We are there, funded by Black people to be there to solve problems for Black people. And so we have your doctors, your lawyers, your therapists, your engineers, your CEOs. Larry Miller, who's the chairman of the board of the Air Jordan brand, who is the former CEO of the Jordan brand. He was there last year. Billionaire Mike Roberts was there. So we have a lot of high powered Black folks together and a lot of super smart people, but we also have a lot of hardworking parents and mothers and fathers and people that just want to do better. So if you're in that category, or if you'd like to vend or sponsor or something like that, get your business promoted, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Also, a reminder, I have a new book out. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. So if you're interested in taking a look at that book, it's an Amazon bestseller. Feel free to go to voicewatkins.com. Hit that thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, we are on Spotify and Apple. So look us up over there too. Let me read a couple more points here about jealousy and how this might affect the Colorado team as well as the Oregon team. So there's research by a guy named Tuckman who says that there are stages of group development that illustrate how internal dynamics, including jealousy, can impact team functionality, with teams evolving through stages of forming, storming, norming, and performing. I don't know if you've ever heard that. Forming, storming, norming, and performing. Jealousy can potentially lead to internal conflicts and divisions, or conversely, strengthen the resolve of a team to perform better. Maintaining positive inter team relationships is crucial for the overall success of any group. See, this is real stuff. This is that wealth building stuff. So when you talk about competing when it comes to wealth, Dr. Claude Anderson is a great man who wrote many great books about wealth being a team sport and how the cohesiveness of that team is critical for you to be successful. So the same way Oregon got together as a team and was organized and structured in their attack in this game, I want your team and your family to have that same sort of approach. And remember that when they talk about forming, storming, norming, and performing, what they're saying is that those are the four stages of how a group kind of works, right? So you form the group and then you storm, you kind of figure out who's doing what, and you have some internal conflicts, but then you learn how to normalize those conflicts, you learn how to resolve your conflicts, and then you get to perform it. Then you get to the point where you can, as a team, work together to achieve your goals, right? So ultimately, even jealousy or even a common thing that you all dislike, you might all have a common enemy if you want to. And sometimes that can be enough fuel to actually push you forward. So this is just a little research to share with your family. This is why I think any group, any family business, if you form a family business and y'all start making money, spend some money and hire you a team therapist. Get you a team therapist that can make sure that your team dynamics are always positive so that you don't get to the point where you have arrogance causing people to have conflict. Let me give you an example of another really hyped sports teams. They were hyped just like Colorado is, where they started fighting each other because of all the hype. There was anybody remember, anybody old, anybody in here, give me a yes if anybody in here is old enough to remember the 1991 UNLV Running Rebels. Anybody remember the UNLV Running Rebels from 1991? I know I'm giving away my age here. I ain't no spring chicken. I ain't no kid, but I ain't no old man. But anybody remember? I work out. I was at the gym pumping iron today, so I'm still in good shape. Anybody remember how badass the UNLV Running Rebels were in 1990, 1991? Anybody remember? And if you don't remember, I'm gonna tell y'all a real cool story. If all the young folks that don't remember, I need y'all to go Google this. Go look it up on YouTube. It'll be fascinating. The UNLV Running Rebels was arguably one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time. Every team they played, they would beat the living shit out of that team. They would beat that team by 25, 30 points. They would, and it was really weird. They didn't have a deep bench. They had like 5 or 6 players that played, and they would somehow just end up 30 points ahead in every game. They played Duke in the national championship in 1991, and they beat Duke so bad that the Duke Blue Devils literally said they had nightmares about that game for the rest of the year. Literally, it was that bad. Like they beat them, I think, by 36 points or something, or maybe it's 32 points. It was something. They were up over 30 points in the national championship game. That's how badass they were, right? So here's what happened. Let me tell you a story. This is a good story for you to know so you never let arrogance destroy something beautiful and amazing that you have, whether you're talking about your marriage or a great friendship or a great partnership in a business. Here's what happened to Duke. I mean, not sorry, the UNLV Runner Rebels. So the whole season, they were just whooping ass. Every game, they were winning by 20, 25 points because they had Duke in the national championship by 30 points. So, of course, they're going to win the national championship because a bunch of the players came back, right? Of course, that's going to happen. The number one ranked in the country. They played the number two team in the country, beat them by 20 points. This is how good they are. I want you to just use your imagination. So this team is storming through the season, undefeated. They get to the NCAA tournament. And to tell you how good they were, I placed a bet with the dudes in my dorm that was at the time a very stupid bet, but it made sense to me logically, but really it was not a good bet. I was the dummy. I was the one, the sucker here. Let me tell you what the bet was. I kid you not. This is real true story. I bet them, I said, um, you get UNLV, I get the other 63 teams in the tournament. That was the bet. It was a 50-50 bet. I said, "You get UNLV, you take UNLV, I'm taking the other 63 teams in the tournament," because I said to myself, I said, "Out of all these 63 teams, one of them has to be able to beat Vegas." I mean, can you imagine that? How crazy that bet is? Imagine somebody placing a bet like that now. It wouldn't make any sense, right? But I literally was like, I'll give you UNLV, and they gave me all 63 teams. So each game I'm watching, like, okay, maybe Georgetown could get them. Nope. Maybe so and so could get them. Nope. Every team they were just beating them, whooping them, whooping them, whooping them. So here's what happened. This is what I promise you. The story has a point. It's a really important story if you want to talk about building wealth and winning. Okay, because remember, wealth is a team sport, just like football, just like basketball, just like anything. It's a team sport. You can't win it as an individual 9 times out of 10. So here's what happened. They got to the Final Four, but these dudes got cocky. I mean, it was a foregone conclusion that they were going to win the championship. They were about to play the Final Four against the same Panthers at Duke that they had beat by 30 something points the previous year. So they weren't even wondering like, are we gonna win this game? That was a foregone conclusion. Even I was like, damn, man, I'm about to pay all these dudes because I made a stupid bet. Because they have been blowing teams away all through the tournament. But you know what happened? They got arrogant. And in the locker room, rather than focusing on the task at hand, rather than getting ready for the game, rather than studying their competition, watching film and getting ready, they were in the locker room arguing over who was gonna get the money from the T-shirts. Because remember back then they didn't have NIL deals and all that, but they were in Vegas, so they were getting paid money under the table. I mean, come on, you're in the gambling capital of America. You and I mean, money was getting to them, right? So they had their little side businesses going on. All these guys were arguing over the money. There was no conversation about how are we gonna beat this team. And let me tell you what Duke did. You know what Duke did? Duke took that pain from the previous year. They took the humiliation of getting just ass whooped in front of 10 million people, and they carried that with them, and they rallied around the agony of what they had experienced the entire year of being embarrassed, like, being humiliated, being humbled, like, just really going from thinking that you're a great player to realizing that you've got a lot of work to do. So Christian Laettner shows up 10 times better than before. Bobby Hurley shows up. fully prepared. Coach Mike Krzyzewski got the team on point. Then they added in Grant Hill at the time, who was a freshman at the time, who had athletic ability that could match the UNLV. And I'll be damned if in that game, Duke did not show up. The same Duke team, pretty much, that had got beat by over 30 something points the year before, plus Grant Hill, which made a big difference, showed up and beat them in that game. And I believe they beat them because they lost their focus. They got a little bit of attention, and then they started getting cocky. So the worst thing you can ever do if you start winning, when you become number one, you better always remind yourself to work as hard as if you are number 4. You need to always in your mind be the underdog. Always know that whatever you got going good, there's always a threat. There's always something coming. There's always something you have to be ready for. And if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. If those guys had been ready, they would have beat the crap out of Duke just like they did the year before. But they showed up slipping, and Duke came and rallied around their anger over that humiliation and used that humiliation to literally play one of the greatest games in college basketball history. And from that moment on, Duke dominated. Go look up Duke, or in the early 90s, I think they won 2 or 3 championships in a row. So my point is to say, the reason I share this story is because I think about these kinds of things when I look at what could have happened to Colorado. Again, this is just one game, right? But sometimes those defeats, those butt whoopings you take, those situations where you get your face kicked in and you are muddy and in the grass and just humiliated like nobody's business, that's your opportunity to really rebuild yourself into something better. But you have to take all that energy and make it into something positive. Because let's just be clear, I love Coach Prime. Y'all know I love. I ain't got nobody else's jersey on my wall, so don't ever think that I'm hating on this guy. Because I love him, but he knows, and I know that these guys were not ready for prime time. And if prime time is going to have their ass in the gym working out and doing what they got to do, watching more film and getting ready and understanding that every team you play is going to be Colorado State. So anyway, that's it, guys. Stay humble, stay hungry, keep working hard. That's how you win. All right. So anyway, give me a yes in the chat if you agree. Give me a yes in the chat if you understand where I'm coming from. Give me a yes in the chat if that long-winded story I just told is beneficial to you. Because I really encourage you, go back and look at that Vegas team from the early '90s. They were just, an amazing team to watch. Anyway, I gotta go. My wife's waiting on me. It's date night. I'm about to go hang out with my baby and eat some steak. So God bless you. Hit that thumbs up button. Way out. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, if you want to get those profit alerts sent to you via text, as well as a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, I'll also send you a list of AI stocks that I love and also our training on how to make money without working. All you got to do is pull out your phone, text the word stock to 31996, text stock to 31996. I will send you all of that stuff, courtesy of the Black Business School, for free. And in addition to that, I want to remind you, if you want to join us at the All Black National Convention, that's going to happen October 20th through the 22nd in Atlanta. So if you'd like to join us, just go to allnationalconvention.com. All right, take care, everybody. God bless you, and I will see you guys soon. And shout out to Coach Prime, man. I I know it was a rough day, brother, but he's still $1 billion asset for that school, and he's gonna make him become a real ton of money. So you need to really pay that man. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boy's TV. Here we are.